blackberry strawberry waffle today, and mine just looks like a mountain of strawberries, but there is a waffle
with
under
an
there.
Avalanche of blackberries on both sides.
I didn't make mine look fancy like James's.
Well, you didn't have a big plate that you could play
No,
with.
that's just it.
But roughly the same number amount of ingredients.
Yes, yeah. Well, I put less blackberries because I really didn't have room.
Well, it would have just fallen off.
Yeah.
The dogs might have appreciated it. I don't know if they'd be a big fan of blackberries. They're fans of a lot of things that you wouldn't expect. Chihuahuas are a little bit unusual. But maybe dogs are.
Anyway, what are you going to talk about?
I'm going to talk about 5 minutes. No, I don't know. As students, I better get up close and personal here. A student's vocabulary for biblical, get my fingers out of the way, biblical Hebrew and Aramaic, starring Larry A. Mitchell. Frequency lists with definitions, pronunciation guide, and index. I believe it was published 1984. 1984. And I think they boast that they've got, I don't see any reason why they'd lie, or he has got, 680 or so Aramaic words to be found in the Old Testament. Well, I think there'd be some actually. Anyway, and it's got just a little under 2,000 of the most frequently occurring Hebrew words. Bible. And it's really quite useful. I mean, this thing and Brown, Briggs, and Driver, the dictionary, this is a vocabulary dictionary that you tend to use when you're studying Hebrew at the university level, are pretty good. This one I think is better than Brown's and Briggs and Driver, but the way that you look up Semitic words in a dictionary traditionally arranged is clumsy at the best. It's a weird system. It doesn't lend itself to traditional dictionaries, and I'm not going to go into the complexities and complications of the whole procedure. But what I'm going to say is this comes highly recommended. I've only taken officially 4 layers of, that's semester courses, of Hebrew at university, but how well did I do? I got 0% on the final, the first time out. And they didn't tell us that it was the Harvard exam, but it was. And Harvard exam for that year. And I got 0%.
You got 100.
Yeah, I mean, another 0.
Yeah.
That means no one at Harvard that year did any better than me. And here I was, a lowest student. But when we, that class, they said, and I don't think that they were exaggerating, was the class that I was in. Was the U of L was the best that he ever had at the U of L. And let me see, there was a kid in there, got 83% in that class, in that final. And he was very happy with that, and 17% less. Distinguished career as a student, at least. What he's doing now that he's graduated, but yeah, I get it, he graduated at Harvard University studying interior no, not interior decorating. Hebrew, all things, or many things related. 83%. So am I trading off on Harvard reputation? To a certain extent, yeah. Well, what I'm saying actually is I'm maybe a little cut above Harvard. Okay? So when it comes to a variety of different languages taken. So it's like, or just study Hittite, Akkadian, Sumerian,
There we go. Now
Ugaritic, Ammonite, Edomite, Moabite, Ge'ez, Aramaic, But I said Aramaic already. Syriac. Um, what's the official language in Ethiopia? I'm glitching on it right now, but Amharic. On and on it kind of goes. So, yeah, when it comes to, well, I've studied modern Arabic, classical Arabic, some of this stuff at university. Classical Arabic, standard modern Arabic, a few different, basically they say dialects, but the linguists say they're different languages. They say there might be a half dozen languages or 5 or so that we can class as one language Arabic. And stuff like that, something like that. So, and that's just, when it comes to languages, I mean, that's what the specialists do, like they'll it's native languages, but Hittite isn't native. Oh, yeah, I've looked at a little bit of Ugaritic, a little bit of a related language. But, that it just doesn't end there. You know what I'm saying? Like I've looked at Sanskrit. Now, okay, that's European. I've looked at a lot of European. I'm not going to go into all this thing, but yeah. And then Tariana. Trivial stuff, although it's not trivial language, it's not trivial people that speak it. But maybe where's Tariana? It's good. How about Guarani? It's actually more than a semi-official language of a country. Where's that country? Guarani? No, even care. You see, like it's not just this. I don't have my blinkers. I try to look at a lot of different things, roughly at the same time. How about Token? How about you can get mine? I've actually taken that of Mayan hieroglyphs. Which what is the name? Sabine, Navajo, Western Apache. So a little bit of, I can't pronounce it probably because I'm just trying to read it. But Micmac is the old Micmac, or I should be politically correct this pronunciation. And it just goes on and on and on. Ojibwe, Chippewa, however you want to speak. So, like Confucius, Mencius, or Menci, So, when I say I'm maybe a cut above Harvard, I may be young. No, I am. That's good. So this comes highly recommended. The thing is, it's got, what it does is it, when it comes to vocabulary, it just sucks you in, right? Words occurring more than 2,200 times. There's only 25 words there. Right? They're fundamental. And then it goes 2,199 to 1,000 times. There's 27 words like that. So you work your way in to the vocabulary until you're down to the last section. Words occurring only 10 times in the Old Testament. That's 67 words, right? So it's not going to give you words that occur less than 10 times. But it'll give you basic vocabulary. This is maybe the way to acquire vocabulary. Instead of, well, I kind of like eventually when I get enough vocabulary, I just hit a dictionary. Try to pick up the weird and wild and woolly and wonderful words that hardly occur ever in language, much less in any particular source in that language. So it comes highly recommended. It was a required text. So I'm just going through for review. So at the same time, I'm going through the Old Testament in the the King James translation. No. Done that many times, okay? So in the original, in the original. Check that out. So if you want to be yipping and yapping about religion, understand the Old Testament, or the Scriptures, the Jews tend to call it, and that's probably better. It's not just politically correct. It's more respectful, really. If you're not a Christian, I'm not a Christian. Although, unlike so many left-wingers,
Well,
and
even
I'm-
if you are a Christian,
I respect Christianity,
It should-
at least
yeah.
Christianity that's kind of like New Testament Christianity, not the prosperity gospel, not hardcore Calvinism, not the Pope's version of it, and so on and so forth. There might be some Catholics who kind of learned something, a liberation theology that's not doesn't enable terrorism and stuff like that. That I'm not concerned. I'm not enthused about. Not on it, and stuff like that. Required reading, not this necessarily, but the Old Testament some sort of translation, preferably maybe a couple of different ones. Standard one, although not the revised standard one, is the King James Version. It's a bad translation. The guy who taught me the first layer and a half of biblical Hebrew, he was looking at the King James Version. All he said, I guess it'd been a while since it had been, steamroller. So all he said was, "God, that's an awful translation." I mean, it's 400 years old, the translation, and but it's kind of like the classic translation in English. So, but that and maybe a more modern translation. And if possible, don't be re-upping and yapping about religions. And there's so many people out there hanging out there on the left wing. They don't really belong in the left wing. They're yipping and yapping about religions, calling down Calvinism, that sort of stuff, calling down Christianity in general. You know, like you know how they're shutting down ringing of church bells in England and stuff like that. But they allow Muslims to be yodeling their call to prayer, I think, using loudspeakers and stuff like that.
and really in this day and age, they should be able to use their cell phones and just like set a
Oh, exactly
an
right.
alarm
It
or
should be on
whatever.
a radio, TV, cell phones.
whatever.
Just have someone go and knock and stuff like that. There's no
Who
need
knows?
to have that horrible yodeling or whatever it is visited on other people.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe some people don't like bells and stuff like that, but you know, if you go into a place and you're saying, "Hey, you better shut down," can you imagine going into Mecca, Medina, saying, "Shut down that yodeling"? That's what it's like when you've got Muslims going into England saying, "Shut down that bell ring," and you got all sorts of faux gauchers going around. Hey, shut down that. What they're doing is the faux gauchers are imposing Sharia law on the natives of England. They're about as native as you can get. They're native going back to 1,500 years ago. You know, like it's absolutely disgusting. Thoroughgoingly intolerant. Yes, that is part of Sharia law. Christians weren't supposed to ring their church bells in a Muslim area. Check it out. You think I'm making it up? Check it out. So modern day Sharia law being imposed by faux gauchers.
No,
Fake
I
left-wingers
really
in
count
places
myself
like
as
England.
very lucky because every time I have something to ask about the Bible or anything like that, I can just ask you.
Well, I mean, thank you. I make mistakes. So check it out. I could be wrong
You
about
usually
Sharia.
check it out. When I
usually
ask,
do check it out.
then you say, I think it's this, and then you shoot.
That's right.
And
And
no, you're not.
actually, I'm not. I'm being humble.
Yeah, you've read the Bible so many times now, you know it.
Well, always make mistakes. But here's the thing. You want to yip and yap about religion, to me, you get out there and you get as well. If you're going to be lecturing me, Jesus H. Christ, you'd better have read it in the original. I don't want to hear you dumb idiots squawking about some poor translation and stuff like that. I'm tired of you guys. Do your homework. And I'm the one who's setting the assignment. Read. And you'd better read better. You guys are awful at reading. So many of you guys are like English profs and English students, and you can't read. You'd better read better, and you'd better read more. And you'd better read more widely. You're sitting around there, you read some English literature. You talk about the testimonial literature. You're not getting all sides to the testimony. One of the big problems is when you're looking at Islam, all you're getting is, there was some idiot telling me, well, now for the testimony of literature. He's talking about Hanif Qureshi. I don't think that guy, I think he's 50% Muslim background, and I think he's about as secular as someone can get. If he's I suspect he's something like a Marxist or an anarchist or something like that. So, what's that about the testimony of literature? I think he's a citizen of England, or was. I don't know if he knows any of the original languages. I think he was born in England. Maybe not. Or United Kingdom. What does he know? What does he care? Testimony of literature. You'd better read the foundational documents in the original. Don't give me this about reading Hanif Qureshi. Wow. Anyway, that's about it. Cut.